I've committed a small writing crime, Marta said over lemon drizzle cake on Wednesday afternoon. Sandra didn't blink. You have changed the ending of a novel again, haven't you? This time it wasn't fiction. Someone gave me a real, unfinished book, and then I turned it into a lie by publishing it under my name. It started on Saturday. A man in his late 40s walked into Marta's bookshop wearing a trench coat and the expression of someone who believed reading should be mandatory. He looked serious, as if buying books was a science. He didn't browse. He didn't buy anything. He simply stood in front of the counter and delivered a 90-minute monologue on the collapse of modern storytelling integrity. For an hour and a half, he talked about how stories today had lost their quality and honesty. Marta shelved paperbacks alphabetically and nodded every 12 minutes, like a cooking timer. She felt trapped in the conversation, but she had to stay polite. At one point, she offered him tea. "Caffeine ruins clear thinking," he said seriously. She drank 2 cups in silent protest. Eventually, he left. Marta wrote on a sticky note, "Long coat, strong opinions, no purchase, possibly allergic to joy." He looked like he didn't enjoy anything. 2 days later, he returned. He said nothing this time. He just placed a plain stack of papers on the counter and left again. The manuscript had a title, "Before the Ending Ends." There was no author name, there was no ISBN, no dedication, and no price. It was simply a stack of paper. Marta Googled the phrase, but nothing came up. She checked the inside. There was no contact information and no publisher details. Just a note handwritten inside the cover, "Do with it what you like." That night she poured tea and opened the first page, expecting some deep-thinking nonsense. By page 5, she was hoping for a typo. By page 20, she was editing it in her head. By page 60, she was furious it was good. "This is clever," she whispered, almost offended. The next morning she scanned it, partly to keep it safe and partly to test a theory. She printed 1 copy and slid it into the staff picks display with a handwritten note, "Surprising and emotional. It keeps you turning pages." She stapled the pages neatly, put them in a clear folder, and priced it like a normal paperback. It sold within an hour. That was when the situation started to feel morally unclear. She wasn't sure what was right or wrong anymore. She checked again. She still couldn't find any trace of the book online. Basically, the man had dropped a brilliant book into her lap and vanished like a fairy who wasn't clearly good or bad. After that first sale, 2 customers asked for it again. Marta printed a few more copies, and they sold quickly too. That evening, Marta opened her laptop and searched, "How illegal is it to publish something anonymous?" Google offered 1 blog post from 2007 and a photo of a dog wearing glasses. She asked ChatGPT. It listed legal risks and explained that anonymous did not mean free to take. The answer felt like a warning, and it made her uncomfortable. 3 days later, the book appeared on Kindle under Marta's name. She'd changed the title slightly, formatted it properly, and added a cover featuring a blurry image of a half-open door. She told herself it was all right. She told herself it was curiosity. If nobody knows who wrote it, can anyone prove who owns it? She wondered. Besides, she told herself, he told me to do what I liked. I liked this. She also knew the argument was weak, but it helped her sleep. Sandra listened without interrupting. Her spoon tapped her teacup, slowly, like punctuation. "So, you published it?" "I formatted it," Sandra said carefully. "Under your name? It needed a name. And if he comes back? Marta hesitated. Then I'll offer him a share of the money and possibly herbal tea. Sandra blinked. You know this is quite illegal. Technically, Marta said, he abandoned it. Emotionally, I adopted it. You stole a story that belonged to someone else. I found a new home for it. They sat in silence. A child at the next table dropped a fork dramatically. Marta picked it up and handed it back with the kind of style one gets from years of shelving self-help books. Sandra stirred her tea again. So, she said finally, what happens next? There are only a few reviews so far, but they're positive. That is promising. I used a pen name for the print version, just in case. Sandra leaned back, looking at her with the suspicion of someone who knows they're only getting 80% of the story. Then she smiled. Maybe he was a plot twist. Marta didn't reply, but she did raise her cup, not in agreement exactly, but in recognition.